Hi again. My name is Rebel and I'm the Rebel Reseller. And look, it's done. Well, it's done, I think. I have a few spare spots I can try to find stuff for, but other than that, I'm gonna have to start. If I find something, I have to replace something with it. But isn't that fun? Very fun. Got all my favorites up there, and then even Robert has right here. This way. All of the, well, except for my tree right there. This is all Robert's stuff. So it's pretty. Today's video is going to be the second half of my What Sold video, which will be for the Friday through Sunday, July 10th through the 12th. Tons of sales on the other platforms.
Hardy Kitten asked us to talk about the hazmat rules. Now we're going to talk about the hazmat rules briefly and kind of give you a little bit of an overview of it, but do not trust what we say. We're going to tell you what we read, but you're going to have to make up your own mind about some of this stuff because it's kind of particular and there could be some, well, is this an exception or is this not an exception kind of thing? But we'll hopefully give you a place to start in your thinking about it.
But first, let's get to some of the things that I sold. It looks like I have Poshmark, Depop, Etsy, Mercari, Whatnot, and eBay for that weekend. Poshmark, I have, looks like 5 sales to share with you. How to Train Your Dragon, Defenders of Burke, Hiccups Shield from 2013. This was a Ben's pickup in Dayton, so it was a very quick sale. Sold for $20.
Did you see our comments that Dayton has raised their prices to $2.49 a pound?
I did not.
Yeah, buddy.
Ooh, that stinks.
So that's like
that's 50 cents.
It's a 25% increase. I know it's 50 cents, but that's how you got to think of it. So last time we spent $300, so we're looking at, that would be $375 now.
Dang, I'm gonna have to be a little bit more particular. You threw that one on me real quick. That's sad. Man, that's expensive. But I know, I've seen in Facebook posts, there's other bins that are even more than that. But dang. All right, next, Poshmark. Smithsonian Panda Bear plush sold for $9. This was a nice sale. Playfair was the brand. Alpaca plush made in Peru sold for $30. I think this might be maybe one of my best sales. This is a Dakin brown bear plush with the Boo shirt from 1980, sold for $76. And then for Depop, looks like I have 6 sales to share. First was this Tootsie Toys semi-truck hauler from 1967. Rough condition. I got an offer for $10.50 on Depop. And then this Care Bears Heart Song Bear from 2008 sold for $13.50. Vehicles, second one. BKT Gravedigger Die-Cast Vehicle sold for $6.50. These are Fisher-Price record player music box replacement records. They sold on an offer for $10. These were Disney Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck race car driver plush from Just Play, sold for $9. And then this didn't even sell on an offer. This is a Kohl's Cares Clifford the Big Red Dog's friend Cleo, and it sold for $12.95. Then I had 3 on Etsy. First, nice sale. Disney Christmas Mickey and Minnie Mouse plush doll lot. They're large, 23-inch size, and they sold for $59.95. And then my Popples was a quick sale. I picked this up at a neighborhood yard sale. I want to say I paid $1 for it. And this is Cribsy, and it sold for $19.95. And then my Little Tykes Toddle Tots lot. I've been making lots. I had taken several down, found some more, made this larger lot of Little Tykes toys, and it sold on Etsy for $39.95. Mercari, a single sale, but it was a Pottery Barn Kids Pink Rabbit Plush, $23.96. And then I even had 2 Whatnot sales. First was this strawberry shortcake jigsaw puzzle, sold on an offer for $7. And then this was nice. Hasbro Pony Surprise Baby Lot of 8. And it sold for $29.95. And then eBay. First up were these Funko Five Nights at Freddy's plush lot. They sold for $22.45.
So we said we talk about this hazmat stuff. I don't know that anything has changed with the rules or regulations.
Right.
I didn't dig that far to see if anything had exactly changed, but they definitely changed the fees. There's a $50 you broke the rule
Fine.
fee. Yeah, there's a fine. You don't want to violate that. $50, I mean, that suck all the profit out of a $12 sale.
Yeah.
So you don't want to break that rule.
And all that is about is making sure you do not have any used boxes that you've left hazmat stuff on. I think that's the big thing that they want to stop.
They want to stop that. And they also want to stop people shipping hazmat stuff that aren't declaring it to be a hazmat, because apparently they've had an influx of people doing that. So they're trying to curtail that. And they actually, one of the articles I looked at said they use X-ray technology to look inside packages to see if anything in there looks hazmat. They can read the barcode through their scanner, then they could look inside the package with an X-ray, and there's probably some sort of AI thing that says this could be hazmat, and then they compare whether there's a hazmat declaration on that package, and if there's not, they probably get a human to look into it to see if it needs to be dealt with. So they're looking, they're checking. What's that? Like checking the making the list and checking it twice kind of thing. So make sure you're following the rules. Step one.
As far as the batteries, a lot of us sell stuff with the button cell batteries. The big thing to remember is like the LR44, which is the one I use a lot of, the 3 that you stick inside toys. Those are alkaline batteries. They are not lithium batteries. We did look up something here. If you are using button batteries and their numbers start with
CR,
BR, or DL, then they are lithium button batteries. So you've got to declare them as hazardous. I don't see that very often. I use a lot of LR44s. But it said those are common in like Apple AirTags, key fobs, motherboards, some calculators, watches. I guess there's one CR 2016 that is in some toys. So you're going to have to pay attention to the number on the batteries that you are including in your toys.
There are exceptions for if you have a small lithium battery, like the CR 2032 there might count.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to be installed in the toy, I think, or packed with it correctly. There are some exceptions, but you want to make sure you follow them. We are absolutely not going to give any advice on that because we don't want to steer anybody wrong. But if you're using the LR44s,
those are alkaline.
Those are alkaline. There are some others in that kind of chain of batteries that are going to be alkaline, but the CR, BR, and DL are pretty much going to be lithium batteries, and you need to jump through some hoops to make sure you're doing those correctly. And there's a list of common things that you might not think about right here. Earbuds
have lithium batteries.
Yeah, we all know, laptop batteries, things like that. But phone batteries, portable chargers and power banks, nail polish remover, hand sanitizer.
These are hazardous stuff that you need to be, It's not just battery stuff.
Hand sanitizer, hairspray, aerosol deodorant, spray paint, lighters and lighter refills, pool shock, chlorine tablet, strain cleaner, and paint thinner. All that kind of stuff. And that's not the exhaustive list. Those are just some common examples of things. A lot of those are things that most resellers are never going to touch. We might get into some vintage hairspray or something. Not that we probably wouldn't just because of the hazmat issue, but there are resellers that do that kind of thing. So if you got some sort of aerosol or these specific types of batteries, you need to be careful and make sure that you are tagging it and marking it correctly. Like on eBay, there's a box to check that this is a hazmat item, and that gets
Mm-hmm.
put into your barcode somehow. Then you got specific labels you got to put on there. And I think probably most resellers are going to get this on things with batteries. You're selling some earbuds or toys for that have the CR22 2032s or that kind of battery in them.
Yeah, and make sure perfume is a flammable liquid. So you have got to figure out what labels do you need to put on your boxes when you're shipping perfume. And I'm going to have to figure that out because I have a perfume listed right now also.
And your local post office, I'm sure, will be happy to help you to make sure you got it correct, because it's part of their job and they want to make sure that it's labeled correctly. There is other than the fine, there is currently, if you ship something hazmat through priority mail, there's a $7.50 like additional fee for doing that. Currently, there are none for Ground Advantage or Ground Parcel Select. I think that was in their list, but they could add those in the future.
Fisher Price McDonald's soft serve cone replacement. There was a whole series of Fisher Price McDonald's stuff that came out. Really good prices if you can find them for resale. This one was from 1988. And I made sure I threw the word pretend play in there because I didn't want, like Depop is a little sensitive to like keywords or titles as far as saying, ooh, you're trying to sell food or something like that. So I've been trying to put pretend play in there and I seem to be doing okay, but it ended up selling on an offer of $12. Barrington Murphy, the Maltipoo plush dog, sold on an offer for $15. Original weatherproof men's flannel shirt sold for $11.41. All right, Playmobil. This was from that large Playmobil lot that I had. I actually think I found another tote. I may have processed it though. I've had Playmobil everywhere. But these were just jumping rails and stuff for like, a horse race set. And this sold for an offer of $28. These sold very quickly. This was a lot of Pika blocks and roll around sensory blocks and balls. Sold full price, $49.95 very quickly. And then I think this was my best sell on eBay. It was this Carter's Panda Bear plush from 2015. And I took a best offer of $75. It had been listed almost a year. It was time to go. $75 for a plush. That's pretty good. All right, and then for Robert's store, first thing that sold was on Poshmark. It was this pair of Torrid women's jean shorts with the tie strap, sold for $23. And then he had a Depop order. Now look at these pants. They are rough. Rough. These are American Eagle women's baggy straight jeans. Very distressed. Sold for $15.01. And then on eBay, he sold this Adidas men's track jacket, sold for $18. Pierre Cardin men's Aloha shirt, sold for $10.04. Belle de Jour girls two-piece jumpsuit, sold for $13.21. I think this is the second time we've sold this. I think the other time it got returned for doesn't fit. I'm hoping this one stays sold. Big Smith men's denim bib overalls, sold for $34. And last but not least, this was a very quick sell. Wrangler women's jeans, size 5, very long inseam, and they were irregulars. They still had their original tags on them. But yeah, they were marked irregular and they sold very, very quickly for $20. I'm pretty sure we paid $1 for them at a yard sale.
Yeah, we bought several pair that day, and they were, unfortunately, they were irregular in different ways. So I wasn't able to create. I had 3 pair of the same size, but they each had a different sort of defect. One of them, the seam was a little odd. One of them had slight discolorations, and another one had a different seam out of whack.
All right. It's finally cool out here. We finally got our air conditioning fixed yesterday morning, so I've avoided working out here for an entire week, so it's time to get back to work.
Yes, it is.
All right, y'all, get to work. Bye.